look at, I suppose if we keep trying, hopefully someday they can get across the line. And I suppose with the present team, that's the thing for them. Can they just reach that pinnacle? You know, that effort just to get over the line. Because at the end of the day, it's not, you know, it's not easy one. And like Birr going there, they're going to win as well, you know. And just because we're there for the last couple of years, and they're even 2 years previous to that as well, doesn't mean it's going to happen. You know, the boys it has to happen on the day. And I just hope that they put the performance in that's in them. And usually when we play a Birr, we can raise the game. And I suppose when we meet each other, both sides bring the best out of each other, you know. So hopefully it'll be a good game here.
I'm starting to sweat a bit. I'm getting fired up here anyway. Yeah, but Hubie's not playing though, lads. You have to remember that. Neither is Hanamy. I'd love to be full back with these two. I'd love to be full back with these two lads, cornerback now, I think. But Hubie, you said they're not easily won. Said they were easily enough won. You won 12.
Well, you just spoke to Hubie there about the '93 semi-final in Thurles against Sarsfields, and just a very good story about that day. It was actually it was in '94 in Thurles, and I had my leg broke, and for some reason when I arrived at the match that day, the guys on the gate presumed I was hurling or part of the Rynagh set up. So I was let through the gate.
Hard pity word.
With a broken leg. So I was happy enough to actually get in the game for nothing. I said nothing, I kept my head down. I was escorted then through the players' tunnel as you go onto the field. And I said, obviously there's a place to want me to sit up in the stand, but no. I was brought out onto the pitch and put sitting in the dugout.
Which one?
And I just looked out in the field and said, here's Rynagh and Sarsfields warming up on the field. And I'm looking out at this and I says, I have a funny feeling the Rynagh lads are coming into this dugout in 5 minutes. And clear to Jesus, if they didn't. And of course they were looking around to say, who is this lad? And I wasn't sort of too comfortable myself. So at half time I sort of alleviated myself from the situation by saying I had to go to the restroom. But you're dead right, Michael. It was one of Hubie's finest games. To hurl on a man with the calibre of, you know, Joe Cooney was an unbelievable feat. And to be given that task on the day shows the type of calibre of a player that Hubie was, and that was in Rynagh at the time, and that we were very lucky from an Offaly point of view to have hurling beside us, because the men that are here to my left, what they contributed not alone to their club, but from my point of view to Offaly, I was just very happy to have them on our shoulder any day you went out, because you knew you had men beside you every day.
And, I suppose, Brian, growing up, I suppose you must have very mixed views about where you're from, you know. Because actually one of our great characters in Banagher is a gentleman called Joe White, and I believe you and Joe won your first county medal on the same day.
I don't know if it was a county medal, no.
It was a county medal.
It was definitely here.
Joe White doesn't tell lies.
We won or two of them in Birr as well. I don't tell lies. Yeah. Well, I can tell you, yeah, you're 100% right.
You had a huge, obviously, Rynagh's tradition.
Yeah.
And you knew all about that. And I think it probably made you as a hurler.
Yeah, Well, my mother would say it was from the far side of the county as well.
That wasn't
Derry side.
That wasn't a bad side either, though, I suppose.
No, listen, we were just talking. I was talking to Billy Kane, and I was talking to Martin, and I was talking to Mihal down there earlier. And growing up in the 70s, having lived for 4 years here in Banagher, you know, the memories I have is playing in the Haggard and, you know, being on the street and with a hurling a ball and you know, that was your day. Going up to the field, watching the seniors train, and then we moved into Birr and coming out twice a week and at the weekends for every training session, for every game that Ryan has hurled. And like, I knew the Banagher team of the 70s intimately. I didn't know anyone in Birr that hurled with Birr. And I suppose the big decision that was made, and my mother would have had a huge, I suppose, role in this, was, you know, asking my father to come in and move in, not alone move into Birr, but because she started a business in Birr in the early 70s, but to live in Birr and to hurl with Birr. And that was a huge decision, because we all grew up with the rivalry that was there, you know, and it was a great rivalry. You know, it might have got out of hand now and again, but
Brian, I think that's very important. I think I say that in a good adjustment. Like, some of the rivalry now is nasty. It was a hugely respectful rivalry, I felt, in our time with Birr times.
Yeah, of course it was, and it was something that built you up for the next day, because inadvertently growing up, the two town teams were going to meet, you know, somewhere along the line, and there was great characters involved in the teams. You know, you had the two Hawks. You know, one supporting Rynagh, one supporting Birr. You know, at underage level, you had Jackie. The Lord of mercy on him. Like, what a great man for Rynagh. And we remember him as fondly in Birr. From my point of view, the decision that ultimately defined me going where I ended up hurling was my father coming in, transferring into Birr. And as he said, I think earlier, he was 34 at the time, and he had given, so, you know, his life was Rynagh, and he came into Birr, and he hurled for another 3 or 4 or 5 years with Birr. A huge decision, because it made me then, you know, transfer over my allegiance, my time. Brian Hensey will always say that weren't you very lucky, because you would have won very little after, but I didn't agree with him necessarily at the time. But all I can say is that I now recognise the sacrifice that my dad made, because I don't know if I would have made the same decision later in life. So
I know, I'm sure that's right.
that's right.
Well said, Brian. We'll come back to the county final and the Birr rivalry in a while, but Hubie and Martin and Pádraig down there, and I travel no more than all the lads, but maybe I travel around the country a lot more, maybe, with the media work and that, but probably the proudest thing to me, to be a Rynagh man, is to have 3 All-Ireland winning captains in the one club out of 4 All-Ireland winning captains. And people often talk about the type of men, and you'd be uncompromising men, the 3 great hurlers, but tough men. And you'd be known as a quiet man, a very quiet man, but I would have known you as not so quiet, a man that's well able to express yourself. It must have been a massive day for you in '98 to stand up there after everything that happened in '98 and to lift the McCarthy Cup.
Yeah, Mick. Yeah, I suppose you never think it's going to happen. There's a lot of things put in down through the years, and I suppose as a county, we were fortunate that in 86 and 87, 88, 89, that kind of group came together, and doing so Martin was a little bit older.
Good bit older looking at the hair. Oh no, hold on, yours not very heavy.
We're just not using your colour, Michael.
But as I said, look, we were fortunate all that group kind of came together, and then it developed, and I suppose we were fortunate too that we ended up having some success, you know. We had our bad days too, and but the memories are great, you know that yourself. Anyone that's involved at that level, you know, the memories fantastic.
I do know, but I not only when the captain though is a huge thing.
Yeah, I suppose look, coming back, especially coming back in here into the town, you know, the night we came back in here, and that's something I'll never forget anyway, you know. I remember being on the stage up there, and I was distraught, I was shaking, you know. I was absolutely shaking.
Not too many people ever met him shake.
But you know, we had great nights, and we had great time, and we had great trips as well. So we did okay.
We had indeed, and Martin, you were often in the middle of many of those great trips and great nights. We had a very quiet man as well. Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Martin, I have to say, traveling around the country as well, talking to Pat Foxes, the Nick Englishes, the great corner forwards, Tom Dempsey from Wexford, Eamon Morrissey, Kenny. They all say the best cornerback that ever played the game was Martin Hanamy.
I just wonder how much Michael paid him anyway. I would have done the best I could.
Yeah, but you had to me the most, and I have two of the greatest players of all time beside me here, and we'll go back to say it, but you had the most honest philosophy of the game that I've ever seen. The ball was there, it had to be won, you go for the ball, and that
if you were in the way, it was your own fault.
You were a very foolish person.
Be in the way.
Yeah, but no, but you had a very, and I've come across you on the side of Rynagh over the last few years. You have a very honest philosophy of the way the game should be played.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Mike, but that's the way I feel it should be played. Like, I can't understand that not going for the ball. That is, you know, you're supposed to be a hurler and the ball is there and you have to win the ball. I don't know, I just can't figure it out now. And let's go back to Pat Fox and the boys. As anyone knows here, I wasn't blessed with that much speed, like, but I had a bit of brain, and they usually won the ball, but you know, it had the eye in to block them, and it's hurling, as you know, it's a game about percentages, and if you do most of them right, you come out winning. And as I always say to young lads, the team that makes the least mistakes wins games. And like, simple thing, Kenny perfected, and give the right hand patch, you know, it's a simple game. But I'm glad for Pat Fox and whoever else is out there.
And Martin, the same, but the same question to Hubie. You came down the hill of Banagher, as we always said, with the Sean Robbins Cup. You captained Offaly to win Ireland. Like, you've had an amazing career, and I'm sure you'd love to see that sort of weight that we all kind of carry on our shoulders, lifted off our shoulders, and the new generation of Rynagh hurlers coming and making the breakthrough and winning. It's not easy. The pressure gets more every year.
Definitely right, Mike. Look, things have to evolve and move on. And, like, Rynagh's no different than any other club in Offaly. They have to move on as well. And this is going for fourth in a row here. Obviously, defeats, we say, over 5 years if it happens. But you know, it's hurling is it's a funny game enough. Like, it's so simple. Like, anyone can play it really, and people make it so complicated. You know, it's a funny game as well. But I'm just hoping this is the year for Rynagh. Like, as the boy said earlier, Rynagh needs it, Birr needs it, but I think Rynagh needs it more. I'm not just saying that for a clap, but we were in so many and lost them. You know, like Birr, Birr didn't lose too many, but we were in so many lost them. This club needs a win badly, like, or I don't know. I'm afraid of the.
You're afraid of the consequences. And Brian, I think when we have these three men up here tonight, I just want to say, Brian, your status in the game, you don't need me to tell you about it, but I think to have the career you have had, I'd like to acknowledge them in Banagher, because I think really you're kind of our Banagher man, or Rynagh man. A lot of the good came out of Rynagh, but I always loved the way you played the game. But to win what you won All Ireland beside the lads, but you won the 7 Leinster clubs with Birr. You won 12 senior championship medals on the field of play. You won 4 All Ireland clubs. You were man of the match in many of those matches. And then I suppose you represented, I'm looking at Pádraig and Pacho and Kieran Flamley and Micheál and Gary Cahill and all the other great hurlers here. I think you represented us all then in some small way by being picked on the team of the millennium, which was a fantastic. You were nearly late for it.
Yeah, well, what's that?
That wouldn't be like you now.
No. Well, to be honest, it was the way I felt. I was very fortunate to be picked. I always acknowledge that, but I always felt it was an acknowledgement of the achievements of Offaly over the previous 20 years, what Offaly had done, where they had come from, what they had achieved, and I suppose to become the part of that current establishment at that time. You know, I just happened to be very fortunate that it was me that was picked. As regards being late, well, I was late because we heard Derry the day before, if you recall, Michael, and it wasn't a sort of a great day.
It wasn't one of our greatest days.
We won,
yeah.
and we had a sort of a late night in Birr, and another late night in Birr, and I remember going home. I remember anyway waking up the next morning.
He doesn't remember a whole lot, but it looks like.
I remember the whole night because my father was with me, and we were chatting about where we were going to go from there because things didn't look too good. But next morning I woke up and I turned around and said to Mary, Jesus, I don't know if we head for Croke Park. And she says, "You're right, we're heading for Croke Park. I'm after getting my hair done, my makeup done." So we were heading for Croke Park. I called down for Pacho because he said he'd like to go up because the likes of Eddie Keir and people he would have hurled against were obviously going to be involved. I thought, as one of the current bunch of players that was still hurling, I was being asked up, you know, to just fill the numbers at tables and whatnot. And when I called down to my father, he was feeling sort of the same way as I was. We were both tired. He didn't hurl the day before though, so you can draw your own conclusions. And he says, "No, you go on, I'll clean the pub." And I says, "Grand." Anyway, so I arrived up. The thing started around 12 o'clock. I got into Croke Park and up on the lift and came in around 1:30. And as I got off the lift, Sean O'Leary met me and he congratulated me, and I said, "Just Sean, how are you? Thanks very much. I thought you've just shown me to the seat."
Well done against Derry yesterday.
Yeah, well done against Derry. Very convincing win. And I says, "Grand." So came in along, and next thing Micheál here says, "And now, you know," he just says, "the wing back, the team in the millennium is after arriving." So I turned around to see who was after walking in behind me, and didn't realise. And you know, it was a great occasion. You know, I think when you look back on things, it's only when you finish, you know, you realise what that meant. And I've always acknowledged it. To me, it was an Offaly award. It wasn't I solely believe what Offaly done over the 20 years and the previous, the 69 team, what Damien Martin done, the first All-Star. He put us on the map from an individual point of view and went on from there. And it's when you look back, it's great.
Well, it was a great achievement, and Martin, Hubie, like Kevin Martin, Kevin Keenan, Shane McGuckin, another great man of ours, and Joe Irving, probably the 7 backs over that period, great backs. Brian, or Martin, was he any good? How good was he?
No, right.
Both of them.
Brian Bale knew a good time as the corner. He was that fast, he came back in behind me and cleared the ball. The man was a wall behind in front of me. So.
He was. The boys don't like talking about each other, but I just before we'll wind it up, lads, but I think it's also important to acknowledge tonight too the great Offaly players and player players. Only out the road, a mile or two, Lusma, what a great little club. Joachim, the Troy, Brendan Kelly. Yeah, and I know when I know they become more of a football club now than a hurling club. But to the least are winning, but I think it's important. A night like tonight, that Joachim, the Troy's, Brendan Kelly, Brendan Birmingham, Pat Temple, Ronnie Byrne, Brendan Kelly, great men who soldiered with us as well, and it's great to acknowledge them here as well tonight. So, Brian, no, we won't start with Brian. We said, Hubie, how do you see this county final? How do you see it panning out? Who do you think is going to win, and why?
On the spot.
When I get 500 every Sunday, we're saying the same thing. Like,
I heard it was 1,500. Like it wasn't 500.
I was trying to play it down a bit.
The costs are expensive.
But I hope the guys say Rynagh, obviously. But I don't believe it's going to be easy. I don't think there'll be anything in it. Any time we've ever played Birr, there was very little in it. As I said earlier, they've always brought out the best in us, and we like playing Birr. And I just hope we get across the line this year. I think as a club, going forward as a club, I think we need it. Even for our underage, just to give a bit more encouragement for even younger lads to get involved. And even parents to get even more involved and have their young lads up in the field. I think it's huge, and it's going to be a huge task. As I said, the boys have to reach that, just to get across the line. That's what they have to find. They have to find the performance that will get them there. And that's what they have to find.
And I also think Martin, a bit of luck at times in a county final. Remember '93, the last one where we bet Birr in the final?
Sean O'Mara's still here, by the way, is he? Is he gone?
Declan Pickling took a shot and...
That was 1990.
Was it, Brian? That was 1990.
Paul Murphy got the goal in '93, and it was deemed to be illegal. Yeah, he was in the square. But the video here that night in Rynagh's and Simon Lyons has proved he wasn't in the square. So Sean, you had your shine.
He wasn't doing umpire or anything like that.
Put that behind the video, right?
You see, Offaly Bollocks, all he wanted, he wants that one back as well.
Be equal to Damien then, you see.
Oh no, I saw that in Tullamore one day, trying to get the last one. But we remember that. But what year did Kerwin get the few clips going up after taking the penalty? Is that 93 or 90?
No, 1990.
Yeah, 90 as well. Anyway, Brian, you have one brother left hanging in there. That's what they're saying. Yeah, 39, as Patrick says, at Christmas. So, a link with I don't know how many county finals. You come back to 65, I suppose, with an awful lot of county finals with the Whelans involved. And how is Barry feeling about it, and how do you feel about it?
First of all, I think we're delighted to be in the county final. It's a progress year for us, and hopefully over the next few years things will work out. No, listen, honestly, obviously Sunday week is a great occasion, because I think Hubie, Martin and yourself, Michael, alluded to it. Both teams do tend to bring out the best in one another. Many's a county final was played at all levels between Birr and Rynagh, and going into it, one or the other was to be the favourites. But generally there wasn't a puck of the ball between them at the end of the game. Sunday week, tomorrow week, if that happens, I'd be delighted, because I know we're in with a very, very good chance if it comes down to that. Barry is playing, I think, in his 15th county final on Sunday week. Huge occasion for him. He's 39 in December.
And Brian, he'd be there in a way the lesser light of all the Whelans ever played. But he's had a magnificent career.
He's
huge.
He's been a serious. He's been one of our main players, even through, I suppose, the success that we had. He wasn't there with Porrick in 94, 95, but he was there ever after, and he was a serious presence. Obviously, as you get older, you slow down a little bit. He will have a role to play next Sunday. I'm hoping it's not his last game, but I think if it doesn't go well, it'll be his last game. So from that point of view, obviously, we're hoping it's going to go well. Looking at it from the whole campaign and looking at the performances that has been put in, I do believe Rynagh have been the team of the championship so far. But championships are decided over 60 minutes on a final, and that's why next Sunday is going to be a serious challenge. And I think if Birr are ready for the challenge, they will test Rynagh to the ultimate, because the one team that brings the best out of Birr, and obviously vice versa, is Rynagh. From going from 12, 14 the whole way up, it's a huge occasion. It's the one game that gets them thinking about the next game. Is Rynagh. It's Rynagh in the county final, it's Rynagh in the club game. Can we beat Rynagh? And that's what the target is.
What do you think for Rynagh? One word.
You said something, you mixed something up there that was sort of maybe a Rynagh man. I'm going for Birr. I'm a Birr man, and that's it.
And I wouldn't expect anything else. And Martin, the last word with you, the last word tonight. Can Rynagh bridge the 23-year gap? Will they bridge the 23-year gap on Sunday week?
By just Mike, I'm fucking worried over this one. I think everyone in this pub and everyone who's around Banagher and Cloughan think we will, and kind of up here we think we will, but I have fucking different ideas. If we don't bring the whole job to the table, we're not going to get anywhere. And I'm often worried with the Birr half back line. I think they're going to dominate. That's my opinion now. And if we don't nullify them, we're in big bother. But if we can hurl the first 10 and the last 10 against KK, we do it. But the 40 in between, that's where if we can put a consistent performance together, we'll do it. But the way we're hurling at the moment, we're patchy, and it's going to be a titanic struggle. Birr and Rynagh, as Brian said, bringing the best out of one another. And there's a little story there from 1990. I was captain actually, but actually Birr lads living in Cloughan, which I believe. I don't know what brought them there, but they're living there, and they're happy enough to actually, right? they were saying 1990, you were a very young team in 1990. A lot of minors, Henry, you're on the boys, and they're afraid. These chaps were telling me they're afraid that we give such a hammer in 1990 that we try forward hurling back 5 or 10 years. Why fuck we're looking at how did only for David Hughes' helmet, was that 1990?
Yeah. 1990.
Jackie Pickens took a shot up the ground like a rocket, and the ball hit David Hughes' helmet about the 21-yard line. And only for that we were beaten that. That's how the rivalry
we're terrified at the moment in there at the moment that the same thing is going to happen.
I want to say yeah, B, but I won't say it.
Before we go, just to say thanks very much, lads. The reason that I shouldn't say this word, but moderately I can. The reason I love these lads is, did you ever hear such an honest answer from a man as Martin Hanamy gave? No. Because that's why he was a great player and a great man he was. He told it as he saw it. That's what he said. And my own view is, I hope to God Rynagh win, but I agree with Martin. You can talk about all you want, but you have to win it on the field. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the night. It was a very to me it was a very historic night tonight to have Pacho and Pori talking about the great times, what they brought to Offaly Hurling, to have Micheál and Gary Cahill, and to have Brian Whelahan, Hubert Rigney and Martin Hanamy, 3 of the greatest players that we were ever produced in this county. To have them here in the station, thanks very much.